A knight is remembered by songs, and a fool is remembered by laughter. But what happens when a good man is remembered by no one at all? Episode 2 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms quietly asks this question, and it hurts more than any sword strike. This isn't an episode about spectacle or battles, it's about memory, legacy, and the fear that living honorably might still mean dying forgotten. By the end, Sir Duncan the Tall makes a choice that reshapes his purpose, not as a warrior chasing glory, but as a man refusing to let the past disappear. The episode opens in memory, not action. Duncan speaks of Sir Arlan of Pennytree, the knight who raised him, a man who never complained, who made no enemies, who fought in countless wars and still lived with humility. Sir Arlan gave freely even when it cost him, and that generosity is the reason Duncan is the man he is now. Duncan's kindness isn't weakness, it was taught. The quiet warmth of this memory tells us everything. This wasn't just a knight and a squire, this was a father and a son. Sir Arlan's death didn't just leave Duncan alone, it left him unanchored. Those tears we saw before now carry weight. This grief has been sitting inside him for a long time. That tenderness collapses into something bitter when Duncan realizes why he's speaking of Sir Arlan at all. He hoped House Tyrell would remember the man who fought beside them. He needed someone to vouch for him, to prove Sir Arlan mattered. Instead, he's met with confusion. No one remembers the name. And in Westeros, that truth cuts deep. If you are not born noble, your deeds fade quickly. Honor does not guarantee remembrance. This realization doesn't just insult Sir Arlan, it poisons Duncan's dream of knighthood. As Duncan watches the jousting, excitement gives way to dread. Knights fall, bodies hit the ground, death feels close. In that moment, his mind returns to the burial of Sir Arlan. 60 years of life, 100 battles, and almost no one left to speak his name. Only Baelor Targaryen remembers him. That single memory matters more than titles or armor because it proves Sir Arlan existed beyond Duncan's heart. And yet, it isn't enough. Duncan wants more. He wants a legacy, not for himself, but for the man who raised him. This is where the episode's core question takes shape. Was Sir Arlan a knight or just a fool history ignored? Duncan begins to fear that being forgotten means being meaningless. And then he says the words that define him. Sir Arlan raised him to be an honorable man, and the noble lords can't even remember his name. Sir Arlan of Pennytree is gone, but Duncan is his legacy. From that moment on, Duncan isn't chasing glory, he's carrying a memory. When he says he came to be a champion, it isn't arrogance, it's desperation. If Sir Arlan couldn't be remembered, then Duncan must make sure someone is. One of the quiet truths of the episode is that Duncan understands animals better than people. He loves his horse and refuses to sell it even when starving because animals don't mock him or measure his worth. They don't call him stupid. When a Targaryen horse panics, it is Duncan who calms it, not the handlers or the prince. That moment exposes the difference between inherited power and earned nobility. Prince Aerion treats his horse as property, Duncan treats it as a companion, and the horse knows the difference. Egg mirrors Duncan in subtle ways. When the Targaryens arrive, Egg panics. He wants to disappear. There's fear in his eyes that isn't explained yet, but it's real. Egg believes he is small and powerless, just as Duncan believes he is foolish. Both have accepted lies told to them by the world. Egg's true identity remains hidden, but the episode carefully plants the idea that history is circling him, whether he wants it or not. The theme of fool versus knight becomes literal during the puppet show of Florian the Fool, a legendary figure said to be both. The story suggests that the line is thin, almost imaginary. Duncan proves this repeatedly. He stumbles through his interaction with Tansel, awkward and flustered, a complete fool. Egg stands nearby, embarrassed, trying and failing to save him. Yet in other moments, Duncan stands tall, speaks honestly, and refuses cruelty. In those moments, he is undeniably a knight. The contrast exposes how shallow the world's judgment really is. This idea sharpens when Duncan meets Sir Donald, who claims humble origins. Egg later reveals the truth. Sir Donald's family was wealthy all along. His knighthood came from status, not struggle. Egg asks Duncan why he treats royal lapdogs as his betters, and the answer hangs in the silence. Duncan doesn't yet realize his own worth. He's been told he's lesser for too long. Everything changes when Baelor Targaryen remembers Sir Arlan and speaks the truth. That single act earns Duncan permission to enter the tourney, not because of blood, not because of wealth, but because someone chose honesty. It's a quiet victory, but a powerful one. The ending returns us to where it began, with memory and resolve. Duncan declares his purpose clearly now. He will be the proof that Sir Arlan mattered. Selling his horse hurts more than hunger ever did, because it is the last gift of the man who raised him. But Duncan chooses sacrifice over comfort. This episode isn't about becoming a knight. It's about understanding what a knight truly is. A sword and shield do not make one. Character does. Duncan and Egg walk forward together, both carrying wounds shaped by words they were forced to believe. History is about to correct them. Legends don't begin as heroes. They begin as forgotten boys who refuse to stay forgotten. And sometimes, the bravest thing a man can do is carry another man's name into the fire and dare the world to remember it.